And we are rolling. Welcome to Champions of Champions Boxing Talk, brought to you from the beautifully dreadful weather of Manchester. Well, I was going to talk about a few subjects this week, but never quite got round to it. Today is going to be Kovalev Ward 2 breakdown, or should I say Ward Kovalev 2 breakdown. All you boxing fans will kill me if I don't say the A-side first. Yeah, so the rain's been heavy here, and I got a question asking me today about another sport, What's the reason, Martin, why sometimes players go to Real Madrid instead of Manchester United? Is it because Real Madrid have won more European Cups than Manchester United? My answer to that is no. It's simply the weather in Spain is better than the weather here in Manchester. And I can prove it. I've been out in it. And it's not good. On to the fight anyway. Son of God Andre Ward, as he likes to call himself. And the Crusher Kovalev. Can we build this fight as God v the devil? I know things are obviously not that simple. But the first fight was a real close affair, wasn't it? Personally, I wouldn't have argued as you give the fight either way. Me on the night, I had it even. I couldn't take the belts away from Kovalev, and I couldn't take the undefeated record away from Andre Ward. I thought in the early stages, Kovalev was more than holding his own. In fact, he was ahead halfway through by quite a considerable distance. And he also hurt Ward from a distance with that magnificent jab he's got, Kovalev. And, of course, the power did drop Andre Ward early. But the interesting thing was, a lot of people have this perception that Andre Ward is the boxer and Kovalev is the fighter. It's not that simple. It really isn't. From a range, Kovalev was the most effective, by far, early on. No doubt. More accurate puncher. When Andre Ward was on the back foot, he was getting, I think a bit of a pasting. I thought if this carries on the way it's looking in the first 3 to 4 rounds, if Andre Ward doesn't make some adjustments, he could even get stopped in this first fight. I did expect Ward to be more competitive in a boxing sense with Kovalev, but Ward did something which, when I look at Kovalev now in hindsight, really infuriated me. It was Kovalev's inability to make adjustments fighting on the inside. Now, the pound-for-pound rankings has Andre Ward 1 and Kovalev number 2. I think that's the Ring Magazine rankings, pound for pound. I will argue till kingdom come that pound for pound, Gennady Golovkin is a better fighter than Kovalev. He's got more to his game. I'll tell you why. Kovalev, as he's proved against fighters like David Lemieux, can use that jab on the outside and outbox and break his opponent down. Kovalev-esque, if you like. But then try get close to Triple G in a close encounter. Try make it a war. See how far you get. Triple G is a really good inside fighter with real unorthodox curling shots to the head and the body, right? When you go to war with Triple G, I think he even accelerates even more than he does boxing with the jab against his opponent, who would be maybe mid-range in the ring or all the way towards the ropes. This is why I think Canelo Alvarez has a difficult task. This is why I actually think if Gennady Golovkin could successfully go up to 168 pounds and carry his power up to that weight class and have a few fights there, and maybe at some stage meet Andre Ward in between. I don't know what weight they would do it at, but if he was strong enough to deal with Ward on an even level, say the strength was even, right? I think that would be an interesting fight. I think it'd be an interesting watch, because Andre Ward is a good inside fighter in a different kind of way to Golovkin. But I think Golovkin could do a lot more on the inside than Kovalev did in the first fight. And Triple G to me is an underrated boxer. And Andre Ward, from a distance, I can't remember what video it was. I think big shout out actually to Be Real TV, who said he can't believe that with Andre Ward being an Olympian, that he doesn't box so superb on the outside. And shout out to 78 Sports TV. And he said that Andre Ward is more related to a Bernard Hopkins than, say, a Floyd Mayweather, who does do range real well. You know, he has a unique reach for a man of his size. But Kovalev, when Andre Ward decided to go on the inside, and when Ward was actually throwing shots to the body. Now, Ward is not a massive puncher, but I've often said, you hit the body hard enough, you don't have to be a concussive puncher. Lo and behold, as the fight goes on, it starts to get to the other guy. Right? So, Kovalev to me looked really frustrated. And again, another thing that I noticed, and of course 78 Sports, again, credit to him for this. Sergey Kovalev was sort of holding on Andre Ward's head, pulling it down. Well, Ward was persistent in getting inside. He didn't get frustrated. He let Kovalev get frustrated. Kovalev's mindset went AWOL after 6 rounds, from what I could see. Again, I still don't think Ward won the fight. I think it was even. But if Kovalev could have made an adjustment on the inside, the fight was his to win. But he couldn't. He was like... He looked like he was trapped in a fire. And Andre Ward just kept working away, and Andre Ward, you know, very clever, holds when he needs to, releases when he needs to. That kind of came out wrong, didn't it? But you know what I mean. And he's a good boxer on the inside. He's a good spoiler. Like Bernard Hopkins could defensively spoil you when he got in close. Just when you thought you could unload a little from a distance, Hopkins had your arms, didn't he? And where you'd have to headbutt him, which is not legal. But we've seen some real great work on the inside when people have tried to hold, haven't we? Errol Spence, when Kell Brook was up close. What did Errol do? By hook or by crook, I'm working to that body. And as the fight goes on, even though you might have won the early rounds, the money I'm putting in the bank will produce interest rates later in the fight. Right? Then we've seen a different way. And I was thinking, oh, fight, what is Anthony Joshua doing? Throw an uppercut. It took him 11 rounds to do it, but you know, like Vladimir Klitschko, he likes to clinch on the inside. There's no better way of stopping a guy from clinching than throwing a fast uppercut to the jaw. And that essentially finished the fight. Kovalev was doing none of this. It was Ward working on the inside. But I'll tell you this. Kovalev will expect Ward to do the same thing on the inside because he must, right? But he must do 50%. When they get close in clinches and Ward is working away, Kovalev, you work away. You're the man with the power. Can you imagine if Andre Ward was taking your shots to the body close up? Throw uppercuts, right? When Ward clinches, stop. Don't get frustrated. Stop. Let the referee break, then work again. kind of concerned about Kovalev's mindset. I'm hearing stories that, again, this could be just rumours, but that he's been taking vodka and drinking and all of this kind of stuff. Andre Ward strikes me as the type of guy that does nothing wrong in his preparations. And when you're facing a guy that is that prepared, you, as the champion, because Kovalev was the man in that fight, you've got to be even better prepared than they are. And Kovalev is saying things on social media and sounding angry. Yes, okay, fair enough, but you have to harness that, and it has to become controlled aggression in the ring. And you have to apply that aggression when you're in the fire, i.e. up close, which I think Kovalev just didn't do. On the inside, he was typical Kovalev, fantastic, I should say, on the outside. But when Ward came close and closed the space, because boxing is about distance, Andre Ward at light heavyweight is proving he's more of an even close fighter than he was at 168 pounds. The first time we've seen Andre Ward, or one of the first times I seen Andre Ward apply this inside game that he has, was against Carl Froch, and he completely neutralised Carl Froch. And before that fight, I thought to myself, the last thing Andre Ward needs to do is go in the fire with Carl Froch. But he did. And Carl Froch looked flustered. He really did. Because I don't think he expected this to happen. I think Kovalev must have expected Andre Ward to come on the inside. I mean, Andre Ward's been around for a long time now. I will say Andre Ward looks slower at light heavyweight, but I think that's because of the extra pounds. And the fact that he did have a time of inactivity. And he is, when all said and done, now in his 30s. I think he's closer to 33 now than he is to 30. So, there's an opportunity here. But there's one thing that Kovalev must realise. You can't underestimate Andre Ward's preparation, his IQ, his application to work on the inside, all of those things. Now, people are saying Andre Ward has seen Kovalev now. He's worked out the code. But I often answer that sort of thing by saying this. Kovalev's also seen Andre Ward now. And Kovalev is the man, when all's said and done, that to win those belts back has to make the adjustments. Right? Now, there's this presumption in boxing that when you've seen someone once, it's going to be easy the next time around. And Andre Ward, as I said, he's got boxing genius in his IQ. But it brings me to another fight, which was a classic, let's face it. Or should I say 4 classics. Juan Manuel Marquez has a brilliant boxing IQ. He's one of the best counterpunchers of his era, if not the best. Right? Manny Pacquiao had him down 3 times in that first fight. And after the early exchanges, Marquez began to do what looked like solve the Pacquiao puzzle. And he countered Manny, he timed Manny coming in, and then the fight ended in a draw. Now, some people then believed that Marquez had Manny's number, and that the next time they fought, Marquez would win conclusively. The same thing happened again. Marquez had trouble with Pacquiao again. He was dropped by Pacquiao again. But then Marquez come back and made it a close fight. Pacquiao won narrowly. Then they had a third fight, and people thought, well, Pacquiao now is at his peak, so he should destroy Marquez. He's seen Marquez 2 times. Guess what? Pacquiao had trouble with Marquez again. The fight was close again. Pacquiao won narrowly again. Then the fourth fight. Pacquiao's got to do him tonight. He's seen him 3 times. Or Marquez might have his number. He's seen Pacquiao 3 times. It was a close fight. Again. And then Pacquiao started to dominate. And he looked like he had Marquez down and out. Pacquiao was dropped too. Marquez looked a dead man in the 6th round. It looked like finally Manny's got his man. Game, set and match. And you know what happened? Marquez chinned him with the right hand. Disguised it brilliantly and beat him. So, 4 fights. 4 incredible contests with 2 incredible boxers. 2 incredible pugilists. And they couldn't figure each other out. We may be in a situation where we have another close fight with Andre Ward and Kovalev. And then, of course, you know Vegas likes the money. It sets up a trilogy. Kovalev must start fast though. He can't be measured. He can't pace himself. I heard that Kovalev said he overtrained, right? Overtraining in sport is as bad and is as irresponsible as undertraining. Let me just say that. It's very unprofessional. For Kovalev to say after 6 rounds he was gassing the Andre Ward, he's like Floyd Mayweather had he lost to Manny Pacquiao, coming out and saying, well, I didn't train well enough and I didn't have enough in the tank. My God, Kovalev, you just fought the best fighter currently on the planet and you didn't prepare properly. You would never hear Floyd Mayweather say that about another pound-for-pound guy he's faced. So, he has to get his mentality right. He has to get his training right. He has to get his game right. It has to be a fast start, just as it was early. And he has to sustain it. In other words, the cardio level has to be there. Then when Andre Ward comes on the inside, Kovalev must have a deterrent for him. He must make Ward think twice about coming on the inside with body shots, hooks, uppercuts. And when Andre Ward holds, containing himself, not getting flustered and looking at referees. We know sometimes it's excessive, but Kovalev, you're in America. You are not going to get the benefits of the officials or judges there. So every moment you have to take and take it so obviously that it's untrue. Right? And then, imagine this scenario. Andre Ward is so scared of being hurt by Kovalev on the inside that he keeps on the outside. Then, Crusher, the fight's yours, isn't it? The key is what you do on the inside. That's where the balance lies. Even without an inside game, you made it close for Andre Ward. When I say an inside game, I mean not as good an inside game as Ward's was. It sounds a bit insulting what I'm saying. I don't mean it. I know Kovalev is a great fighter. I'm not knocking him. But what I'm saying is, if he can raise the level of his inside game, Andre Ward has nowhere to go. He hasn't. Because Andre Ward will have to take a step back. When Ward was on the back foot, Kovalev was winning. And winning comfortably, as far as I'm concerned. So, the inside is everything. It's the key to victory for Ward again. Because I don't think Ward outboxes Kovalev from the outside. Because I think Kovalev is too rangy. His jab is too good. It stings. And if you get caught with big right hands being set up by the jab at a distance, then you could find yourself being dropped again. I don't think Ward is going to be dropped again early in this fight. But the perception in the fight in the first one was Ward was wearing him down. Kovalev, you need to start thinking you're the bigger man. You need to wear the smaller man down. Now, I know that the smaller man generally does try and work more on the inside, the bigger man. But you've got to put your money's worth in on the inside. The body is everything. Kovalev's power, if he could transfer that to the body, I guarantee you, no fighter in the world will want to go in there. That's why Danny Jacobs did not go on the inside via Gennady Golovkin. Pure and simple. Had he been there to be hit consistently and not made Golovkin look for him, he wouldn't have been knocked down, he'd have been stopped. I don't care how much Jacob weighed on that night. Golovkin in the fire can do the business. You only have to match Ward on the inside. If you match him, Ward will go out because he won't want to be there. And we know you have it on the outside. Your footwork's good. You proved that you can match Andre Ward, I think a future boxing legend. Kovalev proved he can match him. You can surpass him with work on the inside. I'm not sure about Kovalev's focus though. I think we may get a good start from him, but maybe not as good as the first, and maybe Ward may have figured him out and begin to get close. And I hope Kovalev does not start feeling sorry for himself, thinking about the first fight. Oh, I was robbed and I was... Listen, Danny Jacobs said he was robbed. Kovalev said he was robbed. These were close fights. They're not robberies. Robbery is Timothy Bradley, Manny Pacquiao. That's a robbery, right? C.J. Ross scoring Mayweather, Canelo, a draw. That would have been a robbery had the fight been called a draw. They're robberies. These are close matches, right? You have to separate yourself. And Ward had to separate himself too, and he didn't. He got the benefit of the doubt because he was the American fighter, let's face it. And the public kind of do see things about Kovalev they don't like. Again, it's about personality, and it does transfer to judges. I don't care what anybody says. Boxing is a perception game. So, if you've got a rumoured racist, and it's a close fight, we don't like racists in this world, do we? Or we shouldn't, right? You're going to think, thank God that guy lost. Tick. I'm giving that round to hit. Close rounds go to Andre Ward. He's American, and you've been shown to say a few racist things. There's also been trouble with your trainer, I believe, Mr. Jackson. I don't like that, Kovalev. I've heard rumours that Kovalev refuses to take direction and instructions in his corner. Well, let me tell you something. You have to listen to trainers via a guy like Andre Ward. You have to make adjustments. Right? But if you can distance yourself, if you can do better than you did in the first fight on the inside, you could set up a real big money spinner in that third fight. But you have to make this. You can't let Andre Ward school you. Because there will be no third fight. So, how do I see this fight going? What's the final outcome here? Right. I see Ward taking a split decision. I do. But it's a fight where I'm on the edge. Because Kovalev has an opportunity, if his cardio system is better than the first, to do what he couldn't do. Hurt Ward, potentially. And if he's got it in him, maybe stop him. He's always got the power. And you're the bigger guy. You must wear the smaller guy down. But it was Kovalev that was looking more tired in that first fight, as far as I'm concerned. I see Kovalev, his nature, defeating him, to be honest with you. I see him holding firm in the early stages, Ward clawing it back again. And I do see a Kovalev that doesn't sort of have a meltdown in the ring or a breakdown, but begins to look at referees. And while he's looking at referees, Andre Ward is letting the hands go to the body and flustering and holding and doing all the typical classic veteran moves. And with that, I see a slight edge to Andre Ward yet again. Do I think it'll be a good fight? I thought the first one was a pretty decent scrap. I think this one will be too. Do I see a third fight in the offering? Maybe not. I think then Kovalev needs to try and get Adonis Stevenson in the ring if that would ever happen. Because, shout out to Billy Boss. He said it the other day and he's right. I've often said that Adonis Stevenson is a one-trick pony, but Billy Boss, man, put me in my place, so to speak. He said, yeah, but what a one-trick pony he is with that power. That right hand, it seems to come out of nowhere and catch people. Hit that guy, by luck, could knock Ward or Kovalev out. I'm not saying he would, but, people say he's avoiding everybody, but that doesn't mean when you eventually get a so-called coward in the ring, you beat him. Cowards can be dangerous in fights. Those that believe Pacquiao and Mayweather, that Mayweather was avoiding Pacquiao for years, well, when the fight eventually happened, it kind of looked like, oops, I wish this fight wouldn't have happened because the coward is so defensive. The other guy can't land much and he's getting slightly outboxed in these rounds, So, the Son of God wins again, and the Devil Kovalev, I believe, is a frustrated figure. I think, again, there will be some arguments about the outcome. But coming from a neutral point of view, you'll be able to say, well, you could actually say Ward did win the first two fights. It's subjective, but neither Ward nor Kovalev did enough to really separate themselves from each other. And when you do that, you give the hometown fighter every opportunity to take the victory. I'm not saying it's right, but that's the way it is. Madonna Mayweather was a close fight in my view. De La Hoya Mayweather. Castillo, I believe, beat Mayweather. But because, Floyd's in America, if Madonna believes he's done slightly enough, according to the judges, Floyd will have done enough. It's the way it is. You're at home, it's going to go for you. Had Klitschko gone the 12 rounds with Anthony Joshua, Joshua would have got the victory on the scorecards. I know it. I seen the judges' scores after the fight. And yet I had Klitschko ahead. The only judges that didn't see it for the hometown boy was Spence v. Brook. The judges at Bramall Lane, Sheffield, were actually doing a good job that night and had Spence ahead. I actually think they had Spence a little bit too far ahead. But sometimes that happens, but it's rare. You've got to do a good job. When in another man's house, conduct yourself the very best you can. That's what I say. And that's the same in a boxing ring. So for me, Mr. Ward narrowly takes this again. People are arguing again. But Kovalev, again, will also look back and think, if my mentality was as cool as Andre Ward's, I'd have won this fight because I'd have made the correct adjustments on the inside game. Okay, so I'm going to go out now and sunbathe in the rain in Manchester. Champions of Champions Boxing Talk, I'm out.